Okay, this is an awesome style of fly. It's not just a specific pattern, but it's more of a style. If you go to Phil Rowley's Flycraft Angling website, he's got some examples of this, and this is where I first saw the style. It's called a balanced style fly, and you'll notice this pattern here. It's meant to suspend horizontally, hence the name the belly flop. And it's all the placement of the weight and the proportion there. So it's important that these proportions are the same. Otherwise it'll be either head heavy or tail heavy. I like it just like this. And I've done phenomenally well with this specific pattern as well as leech patterns like this. And so it's definitely a style you want to fish. It goes typically under an indicator, but you can also strip them as well. But the idea is that under an indicator which hangs vertically in the water column, your fly can then have a horizontal presentation. And the nice thing is that you'll get a little bit of chop on the water and your fly can start to dance like those damsels will do. So anyway, let's get started. Okay, we'll go ahead and start off with our extender pin. And just attach that onto the vise. And then we're going to take our bead and just slide that on there. Because it's a little backwards, we're going to go ahead and we need to make sure that, because there's no eye of the hook, that we got this tied off pretty good. So we're going to start our thread right here. And now all we need to tie in our eye. To make the eye, we're going to take our mono. This is 25-pound mono. And then we just need to burn each end. Now I'm going to take the eyes, and the crimping of the hemostats when I burned them created a flat area, so I'm going to tie that down and lash it on. So our eyes are just going to be crossed like that. And now we're going to tie in the hollow tinsel and our skinny skin. Tinsel's going to go on first. Tie that right on top. Make sure it's straight. And our skinny skin's going to be a little tapered here. Tie that on next. And then we'll just throw on a few wraps to secure this down. Okay, now we're going to take our dubbing. The dubbing is basically a combination of olive brown ice dub, some Canadian brown Arizona semi-seal, some Canadian olive semi-seal, and some olive semi-seal. So that's basically 4 colors, and I want it to include a lot of different colors. It's an idea on dubbing from my friend Jeff Brooks, who has a popular dubbing mix called Olive Spectrumized Damsel. And this isn't the same mix, but it's a similar concept where we're trying to imitate a lot of the colors in these damsels. And what I like to do, I have this touch dub wax from Hairline, and it works great just to get your fingers a little tacky. You don't want to create a tightrope with this dubbing, but it helps it so you can get that on there a little better. And I just one wrap in front, and then figure 8 a little bit, and then right behind the bead, and you want to hold that, push that forward into the eye, and then we're going to cross over to behind the bead, and just create a little amount right there behind the bead, like so. And then what we'll do is just pull the skinny skin and the hollow tinsel over, and that's just going to go right behind the bead, and we want to pull that tight as we pull that over with each piece. And then wet finish. Now I'm going to cut this like that, and then I'm going to come in and I'm going to give this a little notch. So the skinny skin and the hollow tinsel are cut there, and that's going to allow the eye of the hook to work its way in there. Okay, one final step that we need to do to secure the head, because there's nothing here to hold the materials on, we need to apply some Hydro Clear Cure Goo, and this will give it a nice durable finish and allow that to create more of an anchor point. So we'll just dab a little on there on the top, going all the way up to the cutoff point there. The next step is we have our hook in the vise, which is a J100 Allen, J100BL, barbless. It's a jig style hook. And we're going to take our head, which we've tied previously, and just slide that up. And I just want to make sure I've got a good fit here. I want that, that's why I did that notch, so that basically the dubbing piece is right above the eye of the hook. Otherwise I have to cut that skinny skin down. So we're going to go ahead and tie on the thread, and this is some Montana Fly Company light brown and 6/0. And so we're going to put the head on here upside down, or down towards the eye of the hook. You just want to make sure you keep that on the very top. You don't want it sliding off to either side. And then you want to make sure that the head is level and even. Now, one thing, you don't want this head to be extended too far out because it'll throw it off balance. The ideal balance is so that your bead here is just slightly in front of the eye of the hook. Okay, for the tail, we're going to use some of this awesome woolly bugger marabou. And it's perfect for bugger and leech tails. This is a Sculpin olive color. I tie this in right up to the butt joint of the extender pin. That's where we're going to tie everything in. Obviously the tail is way too long, so I want to gauge that about the length of the exposed pin, and I just pinch that with my fingernails and it comes right off. So the body is only going to consist of some large pearl tinsel and then the dubbing. We're going to tie in the pearl tinsel first. And I'll work my way forward. Now I just make big, wide wraps back to the back, and I'm going to make a dubbing loop. So I take my turbo dubbing spinner, we get these on our website, and I make a dubbing loop, 2.5 to 3 times the length of the body, and then wide wraps back up to the eye of the hook. And so we'll just take our dubbing here and feed very sparse pieces into our dubbing loop. Now we don't need a lot, and it can be very sparse. I'm going to go ahead and turbo spin it. Now I like to take my extra cool Velcro brush and I will even this length of dubbing loop out. I don't want big clumps, and if I see small ones I'll move the dubbing down or up and then just pick out any clumps. This is going to be a fairly sparse body. So like that. And then we're going to barber pole or just rib the body with this dubbing loop because I want spaces showing. I got way too much dubbing anyway, as normal. And I tie this off, and we're just right in the elbow where the eye of the hook is. Okay, now the trick on this one, we've got the dubbing from the head and then the dubbing where I tied off. I'm going to whip finish right here, and this will kind of create a little segment, which is fine, but we can brush that out. So I'll take my dubbing teaser. And bear in mind that this, what we're dealing with here, is the bottom of the fly, the belly. And notice as I tease that out, especially those fibers right behind the bead that were on the head segment, they blend right back in with the rest of the body. And then we can come up here and get the top side. And what I like to do is separate them out, and I will trim the top side a little bit. And that'll also help that shine. And then I'll come in here and trim a little bit underneath. Doesn't need to be as buggy as like a semi-sealed leech. But there we go. There's our belly flop balanced damsel.